Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nazar Sayed, and I am sick. Sick of two things. Firstly, a physical, bodily type of sickness like fever and nose just completely clogged up. And secondly, sick of these one-sided, non-combatant, non-intentional games that the PSL is throwing at our faces that Bashaar and I have to sit through and cover every single time. Another game that has gone completely one-sided with the other team actually making no effort to win this one. I have never seen anything like this before. We will get into it. With me, as always, my brother, my co-host, and the person who was flabbergasted at what Saud Shakeel was doing in this entire game.
Saud Shakeel wanted to carry his bat. Saud Shakeel wanted to ensure that by the end of this match, its average remains high.
And at what course? At what cost? I meant he batted. Let me just see this because this is infuriating. 33 runs he scored off 40 deliveries with a strike rate of 82.5. We've been going on about strike rates and intentionality and playing with a cause and a purpose. And Saud Shakeel comes out and is like, hold my beer. Watch what I do.
He was on strike for about an hour and a half and managed to score just 33 runs.
He was there the entire second innings.
Mohammad Amir almost outscored him within a span of 20 minutes.
Mohammad Amir seemed like the batsman with the most intent. But I think we're jumping the gun here a little bit. How about we go into the first innings? How about we talk about what actually transpired in the KK innings?
Karachi versus Quetta. I think we might agree here that Quetta is more of a team that actually represents Karachi than the Karachi team itself.
How so?
Because for the longest time, we had Sarfaraz Ahmed be the captain. Sarfaraz Ahmed is from Karachi, buffer zone. And we had a lot of players from Karachi represent Quetta Gladiators. And it just felt like Quetta is the actual Karachi team versus the Karachi Kings being a team.
So then the locals were more present, and then Moin Khan is also the
and for the longest time, Karachi
Azam was there too.
Karachi Kings core team was Babar Azam, Mohammad Amir,
Imad
Wasim, all players who are actually not from Karachi. Not that it matters in franchise cricket, but just when I know a player is from my city, I am more inclined to support them.
Yeah, so Quetta always repped the Karachi banner low key, and
they had Khurram Manzoor, they had Anwar Ali,
they had
Veer
Azam
Hamza,
Khan, they had Moin Khan, as I said, was the coach through all this. But yeah, man, I mean, the performance that I witnessed, maybe Quetta did give Karachi a walkover because of the old ties, because this was shocking to me.
It was shocking. And also, I think one more shocking thing is the rates on Sendwave. Sendwave has the most competitive rates on the market. They're a fast, secure, and reliable way to send money to Pakistan. And especially if you're a listener from the US, if you send money to Pakistan using Sendwave, you will see a difference. And that difference multiplies when you're sending a large amount.
Yes.
So we encourage you guys, use Sendwave at least for the first time. And you can use the code SCOREPK, that's SCOREPK, to get $10 towards your first transfer that you make.
Yeah, and they charge a no transfer fee. So every transfer you make has a no transfer fees. The way that Sendwave makes their money is through exchange rates. So there's nothing worrying about you that you might be, cashed into giving a little bit extra money when you're trying to send money back home. That's not the case. Try Sendwave. Let Sendwave know that Backward Point sent you by using the code SCOREPK, and have $10 off your first transfer.
We finally saw David Warner being the runs. Now, if it wasn't for this match, this David Warner pick would have reminded me of the time where Lahore Qalandars picked Chris Gayle in the first season, and Chris Gayle was an absolute flop that entire season, to the point where I think towards the end, Lahore Qalandars benched
their
Chris
platinum
Gayle.
pick.
Correct.
They benched their platinum. Yeah, I don't think David Warner would have had that kind of a run
because he's captain.
Not that too, but also David Warner has a lot more accolades under his belt than Chris Gayle does. Chris Gayle has always, in my opinion, been more of a hit and miss character. When he hits, it's crazy when that innings happens, when he's scoring like 365 runs in test matches. But then how often does that actually happen? The consistency lacks with Chris Gayle, but David Warner here, he may be going off a rough patch. He doesn't play international cricket as much, but he's here. He's here to step up when he needs to.
Chris Gayle, famously 2-time triple centurion in test matches.
My guy.
He has a club in Jamaica called 333, which is his highest test score.
I thought it was 365.
No.
Am I confusing him with Hayden? Maybe.
Hayden was 375.
375. I don't know who I'm talking about, but
Man's tripping.
Man is tripping. Man is sick. What can I say? There's a new word in my vocabulary now called GERD. As you're getting older, you gotta get these vocabularies in because weird type of illnesses and sicknesses hit you, and apparently GERD is one of them.
Maybe in a few years, you'll be like, BP does not stand for backward point. It stands for blood pressure.
High blood pressure. Yep, that's probably the case as the age comes up to me. I'm only 28, but what do I know?
A standout thing to me in this match was the horrible fielding by Quetta Gladiators. There was some ground fielding that just went through the legs. Mohammad Amir was fielding on, I believe it was third man or fine leg. And whenever he's bowling, he expects the fielders to fly around and catch balls. But when he was in the field this time around, the ball went through his legs and he was blaming a wrong sharp turn taken by the ball.
We've all been there. There was a moment that you reminded me of today where you had taken 4 wickets in a game and it was your 5th wicket. The ball went up in the air. I was at point, dropped the dolly. Happens, man. The ball turns and
you were blaming the ball for turning in the air.
Yeah, I mean the ball was spin. It was a top edge, so the ball was like moving. It felt like miles in the air.
Of course.
And when you're underneath that, it's tough. So I'm not trying to give Mohammad Amir any excuses. He is a professional cricketer, but every now and then you will find yourself behind a delivery that just does something weird.
James Vince ended up top scoring, but there was also a moment in the beginning of James Vince's innings where there was a very clear run-out chance. James Vince hit the shot towards deep cover, and he is looking to get 2 runs, but there is a miscommunication between him and the other batsman who sort of sells him a dummy midway through, and the throw comes in. It was right into Saud Shakeel's hands. The ball pops out. James Vince was not even in the picture if he had hit the ball. And that missed run out cost him because he ended up top scoring and became the man of the match.
I have a question. Do you feel like franchise cricket is demeaning the art of the field? I mean, we've seen not only in this league, but there's another league running concurrent to the PSL.
Which one?
The Indian Premier League, I believe. And we've seen some missed opportunities there, some dropped catches that were dollies and sitters. And, you and I have a consensus on maybe fielding is not the priority to franchise cricket.
I think it should be. It's actually, we heard one of the owners of the PSL teams hire a baseball fielding coach for the cricket team.
What team was that?
This was Multan Sultans, okay. And the owner's name is Ali Tareen.
Multan Sultan always thinking out of the box.
Yeah, and then they hired a baseball fielding coach for the cricket team, and Ali Tareen was caught on camera saying that I want you guys to have hard fielding drills, and he quoted the word saying "ragda" in Urdu, which means to,
you caught some offense to that.
Yes, I thought it was really weird for a team owner to be wearing a team kit, being in a team meeting and saying that I've hired a new fielding coach who is going to give you guys a ragda. That to me gives micromanager vibes.
Yeah. A lot of Severance watching, Bashaar?
Correct.
A lot of Mr. Milchick vibes?
Miss Cobell.
Miss Cobell vibes, even worse somehow. And
then Multan Sultans actually has had a pretty bad season in terms of fielding. There was a ball that just went through Hasnain's legs. There have been a couple of drop catches. There have been a few cotton bowl chances missed. There's been a few run-out chances missed. So what Ali Tareen has tried to achieve hasn't gotten there yet.
I mean, in our experience working with Islamabad United last year, we did notice that there is a lot of time given to field practices and drills and net sessions and all that, but I don't know if it's just translating onto the field correctly.
You can't change this stuff over time. If somebody is a bad fielder, if they have slow reflexes, they need to first accept that and go out there and work on it themselves. But you can't expect to change fielding in a span of a few weeks tournament.
I'm actually reading, I'm actually finishing Usman Samiuddin's The Unquiet Ones. I'm about 70% in. And I just read the chapter on Imran Khan. And the chapter talks about how Imran Khan was just an ordinary cricketer that came from a privileged family, a family that had a lot of first-class cricketers in his family, especially his mother's side, and how he changed himself into becoming not only the fastest bowler in the world, and then when he had an injury for 2 years, he couldn't bowl. So then he became the best batter in the world. There was a period between 1982 to 1992 where he averaged 50 from his bat and 20 from his ball. So it can
those things just individually are incredible.
Yeah.
But if you combine them together, that just makes him a GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably an episode for the future where we talk about Imran Khan, the greatest cricketer of all time. But at the moment, what my point was that these things can be changed. I just don't think franchise cricket is giving importance to these little moments. Because the results on both ends of the spectrum, be it the IPL or the PSL, not the greatest.
Yeah, in a match where the margins are so low, you need to take these catches. You need to get those runouts.
I think especially in T20, because T20 generally the margins are very low. Like one wicket can start a whole collapse, a whole avalanche of wickets, or a drop catch can start the momentum shift that can like lead you from a winning position to a losing position. Like we were just talking about the PBSK game versus KKR just a couple of days ago on the end of a podcast and then in private as well. And that game's all about momentum. One team has the momentum, loses it, the other team gains the momentum, then loses it, and it's over.
Think of this, right? Think of the Indian team in the Champions Trophy. I think while the Indian team was fielding, they saved probably 20 runs in the field
Every game.
by stopping doubles, by stopping triples,
Initiating runouts.
by getting runouts. And then when they're batting, when the Indian team is batting, they steal runs from the other team because they're super fit, because the other team is stacking. So let's say if they save 20 runs and they score 20 runs, that is a net 40-run difference right there from fielding.
And in any game, that's the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah.
So quite disappointing from the PSL right now so far. I'm hoping that the fielding as the players get more in tune with the workload and all that, it does improve. But so far it's been bad. I don't know what the best catching or best fielding reel is going to look like at the end of the tournament, but it's not pretty.
There should be a reel with just dollies being dropped, and top two would be Babar Azam dropping a bat spin against the Islamabad United match.
Saw that game.
And then in this match, Saud Shakeel dropping Mohammad Nabi, who scores 18 off 12 balls in the end.
Yeah, and both of these are actually quite, I don't want to say, they're reputable fielders. They're not bad fielders.
In the Pakistan team, Babar and Saud Shakeel field on the boundaries.
Yes, and those are reputable positions because they have safe hands. So that's quite a shocker to me.
Shoaib Malik was dropped from this match. I think the criticism on Shoaib Malik.
I think what you meant is rested.
Rested?
Rested. Shoaib Malik can't be dropped.
At the age of 43, he probably does need some rest.
I mean, I can't say anything, but all I'm going to say is that this is not the last of Shoaib Malik that we've seen in this tournament.
It's weird, man. Like, what's the point? What is the point of playing Shoaib Malik? His career is done for Pakistan, and he is he's a mentor for one of the teams in the domestic league. So how is a mentor playing as a player? And we have another mentor being a team director for the same team. We have one more mentor commentating in this PSL. What is these mentors' jobs? What are the KPIs they're being judged by? And why aren't they actually doing their job?
I mean, we could go down this rabbit hole, and we've been down this rabbit hole many times. It's not really the mentor's fault as much as it is the PCB's fault for creating these positions, B, signing these positions with these people, and then C, letting them roam around and in other PCB jobs. Because, you can't get the commentary gig without the PCB approval. You can't get the coaching gig or the playing gig without the PCB approval. So whose fault is it actually? Like, again, we come back to the same question. If PCB gives you 50 lakh rupees a month, you would quit backward point right now.
I would not. I would
Really?
not want to be in the system of the PCB.
50 lakh rupees, $22,000 a month.
I could accept that initially, but then I would also know that maybe in 2 months I could get fired.
What we know is that capitalism has won because he has accepted it initially.
I think I would like to be here in Canada where Yashi Sports is. I would like to be in the same vicinity where Canada's home of cricket resides, where I can go to yashisports.com and buy my equipment and get free shipping on orders of $350 and up. And if that wasn't enough, I could use the code BB10 for 10% off my purchase.
I think we should let people know that we're actually shooting some really interesting stuff with Yashi Sports very soon. We have a couple of videos lined up. They're going to be they're in pre-production right now. They're going to be in production in about a couple of weeks, and we're going to be shooting some amazing content. So thank you, Yashi Sports, for the future content that isn't even out yet, but we know it's going to be good.
This is almost like the Christopher Nolan movie Tenet.
Yes.
We are thanking Yashi Sports for something in the future while we are in the present.
That's how it works. That's how the powers of Yashi exterminate.
There's timelines. We thank Yashi for the future, for the present, and the past.
And the past, all in one. Let's talk about the second innings, because we don't thank the Quetta Gladiators at all for whatever they've produced.
I have a fun segment.
Please, let's go.
Okay, so Quetta scores, Karachi scores 175. And then we see Hassan Ali in the wickets again. He takes a 3-for, and he has become the highest wicket taker in the entire history of the PSL. Now, I want you to guess the top 5 wicket takers in the history of the PSL without using your laptop. Please go ahead now.
All right, guess it. So you told me Hassan Ali, so I'll
Yes.
guess the next 3.
The next 4.
The next 4. Okay, top 5 I said. You said, okay.
And some of these names will be shocking.
Okay. I know Wahab Riaz is in there.
Correct. Wahab Riaz is number 2.
Is number 2, okay. And then who else? I'm trying to think who else has played like all
3
time.
more names.
Is Shadab Khan in there?
Shadab is number 4, correct.
Okay, Shadab's in there. Again, just going off of how many people. Muhammad Amir?
Amir is not in there.
What about? Is there someone like a crazy name in there, like a Suhail Tanveer type situation?
No.
Okay. Give me a hint.
They're all Pakistan players.
Of course.
Current players that have played for Pakistan recently.
Shaheen Afridi?
Yes.
He's in there?
Yep. He is number 3. So you've gotten 4 out of 5.
Okay, so I'm missing which number 5?
You're missing number 5. And this one's going to be, if you get this one, I'm going to actually respect you.
Actually respect you. What does that mean?
I respect you.
What the hell does that
I
mean?
will respect you, but
Okay.
my respect for you will be elevated.
Elevated. Okay. Is a current player that's playing right now, and he's number 5. Is he a fast bowler?
Yes.
A fast bowler who's playing right now. Trying to think. How is Rove?
No.
Okay, give me one more chance.
Ask me one more question.
Who? Okay.
I'll give you a hint. He is a all-rounder.
He's an all-rounder. He's an all-rounder playing for Pakistan right now. Fahim Ashraf. Oh,
Number 5. Top 5 wicket takers in the PSL history. Hassan Ali, 113 wickets. Wahab Riaz, 113 wickets. Hassan Ali, 116 wickets. Wahab Riaz, 113 wickets. Shaheen Afridi, 108. Shadab Khan, 97. And Fahim Ashraf, 79 wickets.
dang.
Top 5 wicket takers in the history of the PSL.
So you're right that Fahim Ashraf is a PSL legend.
Absolutely is. I mean, on all that list, Hassan Ali has the second best economy, 8.04. Actually, I lied. Wow. Okay, wait, hold on. Wahab Riaz, 7.79 economy, best out of the 5.
I don't believe that. That's a rigged stat. I don't believe that at all.
Actually, I lied. I lied again.
What is happening?
Shadab Khan has the best economy amongst the top 5, 7.65. And then it's Wahab Riaz, economy 7.79. And then it's Shaheen Afridi, economy of 8. Hassan Ali, economy 8.04. And then it's Fahim Ashraf, economy of 8.55. Now, if you add Fahim Ashraf's runs, I think he has a 21 average and 140 plus strike rate in the PSL. Coupling his wickets with his runs, he is definitely a PSL legend.
A complete package. I didn't think Hassan Ali was that big of a PSL legend. Shocking.
Absolutely is. I think he's played every single edition of the PSL. He was with Zalmi, and then he went to Islamabad, and then he went to Karachi, where he currently is now. And I just think he has a way of finding wickets. Like, he takes wickets up front because he can swing the ball on good lengths, and then he has good variations towards death. He has good Yorkers, good slower balls, and I just think he knows how to take wickets in Pakistan and this format, in this league.
No, definitely. And I've watched his bowling, especially in this season, very carefully, and he's doing this very interesting thing where he's taking the ball away from the batsman and bringing it in the same over. So he's really using the seam of it all, and he's running in hard, paces up like high 130s, low 140s, and he's effective, especially in dead pitches in Karachi. He's making the ball talk, man.
Absolutely.
That's a win in my opinion.
Quetta never really got going. They only have 3 batsmen who got into double figures. And their biggest partnership was between Muhammad Amir and Saud Shakeel. Now, I have a big throwback to mention. This Muhammad Amir innings, where he was coming down the track, smashing sixes, it reminded me of a very famous partnership between Muhammad Amir and Saeed Ajmal in an ODI match against New Zealand.
I remember
Now, this
this.
happened in 2010. So some of our listeners might not have been born back then. But if you know what I'm talking about. This is a match that happened in Abu Dhabi. This is the 3rd ODI between Pakistan and New Zealand. Pakistan is chasing 211. And obviously, we have batting collapse. Pakistan at one point is 101 for 9. And I remember we were coming back. We were in Karachi at the time. We came back from a wedding. And I, being the cricket fanatic that I am, I continued to watch that match, even though it was late at night, even though Pakistan was 101 for 9, evident to lose the match. And then come Amir and Saeed Ajmal putting up, I think this might still be the biggest partnership in the history of ODI cricket for the wicket number 10.
Yes. And how many runs did they score? 70, 80 odd?
73 was scored by Amir. 33 was scored by Ajmal, and their combined partnership was 103 runs. Pakistan lost by just 7 runs in the end.
Yeah, I remember.
They almost won it.
There was a pull shot that the Sendwave played that was just, he didn't know what to do with it. And those were the days where Abdul Razak would come in and score a century and win against South Africa. And these type of matches would happen. And that's where the Delulu actually stems from. People ask, like, how can you guys say that India is not going to make it to the semifinal and Pakistan is going to make it to the semifinal of the Champions Trophy? This is why, guys. This is exactly why. When you have that in your DNA as a youngin, it's really hard to shake that off. And then you're right, the reminiscence of that innings with this innings, this was I bet, like, albeit a lot more aggressive. Like, he was going after everybody, and I believe he went after Khusdil Shah for 2 sixes, both over 80 meters. I was like, what has happened to him? Is he trying to give a message to the batsman? This is how it's done in a Karachi flat tracker.
Amir sponsored by UZ Sport. Shout out to Zair Bhai,
Personal friend of the podcast. On and off the podcast.
Make some really good bats for players, for Shaheen, Haris, and Amir as well.
And the power was on display.
Absolutely, it was.
You know what wasn't on display? The Karachi itself. Nobody turned up to watch this game again.
I think
there were more A-list celebrities in the ground than there were fans.
So we talked about this. We talked about how I think me and you are doing a lot of research on the IPL these days and its success and how it sort of transpired. And you heard a podcast where Lalit Modi was on with Raj, somebody.
I forget who it was, but yeah,
I don't know his last name, but he was on a podcast and he explained how the IPL came into origin. And right now, I'm listening to a podcast. It's called Acquired. It is an American podcast where they do deep dives on companies and how they were formed and their successes. And that podcast has done a 4-hour episode on the Indian Premier League. So I think I am 3 hours into that 4-hour podcast. And one of the key factors in the IPL success is the marriage between cricket and Bollywood. These are the top 2 things that the Indians care most about. And with Pakistan, I believe it's cricket and dramas. Like, Pakistani dramas are probably the most exportable thing ever. I have Afghan friends here who watch Pakistani dramas. And I think what Pakistani teams are trying to do, and what they've tried to do over the years, is try to bring in some of those drama celebrities into the ground, into the stadiums, to get that same sort of effect. Like, we've seen Awad Khan be an ambassador for Islamabad United. We saw Mehwish Hayat being an ambassador for Zalmi. Mahira Khan was an ambassador for Zalmi. And then today we were witnessing Maya Ali for Quetta and Humayun Saeed, Adnan Siddiqui, all these guys for the Karachi team. Correct.
But there's a huge difference between ambassadorship and ownership. And I think that's where IPL got it right, where, you know, Shah Rukh Khan owns a team and Preeti Zinta owns a team. So when KKR versus PBSK is happening, you're like, oh, that's Shah Rukh Khan versus Preeti Zinta. You never think about that when there's ambassadorship involved, because it could be a season or two. So that's where I think the PSL is dropping the ball. I think there is room for integration for the PSL in the drama world for sure. And I mean, that's just a match made in heaven, honestly. And it's not just showing these people on screen, but actually having these integrations be a part of, you know, just like team building and team ownership and all of that. So I'm more excited about that if that ever happens. I mean, there's definitely a tide turning in the PSL, and hopefully the 11-12's editions will be different from the past 10 years. But I see what you're saying. Your point is valid. How did Quetta blow this chase?
They just had no partnerships, kept losing wickets at key intervals, and nobody aside from, I think Saud Shakeel was just playing to minimize the net run rate. He at no point showed any intent, and I'm not sure if the opening spot is the best suited for him because of him opening, Hassan Nawaz, who was a genuine opener, cannot open in. Khwaja Nafi, who was a number 3 batsman, can't play number 3. And it just seems like a lot of things are happening. And to consider that Mark Chapman will join this team as well, where is he going to be suited in? So Quetta, they had a really good draft, but I think they're just struggling to have the right combination, which I think is a very key part post-draft.
I think, when Chapman does come in, I feel like Hassan Nawaz sits out.
Yeah, it's possible.
Like, there's nothing spectacular apart from that one century that we saw in New Zealand a few weeks ago that Hassan Nawaz has done, and he hasn't done anything in the PSL so far. So Hassan Nawaz probably sits out in place of Chapman.
Yeah, it's tough to say because Yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky, yeah.
Thoughts on the Hassan Ali send-off to Abrar Ahmed?
Loved it.
Thought that was cheeky.
Absolutely loved it. Hassan Ali is a character, and he gave Abrar a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, and then with all like good fun. It wasn't. There was no malice behind that. He rocked his head a little bit, shook his hand. I like that. I like that kind of rivalry. I think that's what the PSL needs more, and rivalry itself is what the PSL needs more.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the next matches. So we'll be back here tomorrow in Backward Points PSL daily coverage.
What is the next game tomorrow? We have MS versus PZ, the game of the losers. They both are on the bottom of the table without a single win. Let's do some predictions before we head out.
Someone messaged us saying that we are about to see 2 centuries on 65 balls.
Yeah, probably right. Accurate. This game is happening in Pindi.
My prediction is whoever plays faster between Babar and Rizwan will win the match.
Battle of the anchors.
Battle of the strike rates.
Battle of the strike rates. Yes. So what was your prediction again?
Whichever team plays, whichever player between Babar and Rizwan plays at a higher strike rate will ultimately win the match.
Okay, Babar right now has a collective score of, let me just check.
Babar is averaging 0.5.
0.5 average in this tournament. So I don't know. Babar's got to get into some runs. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with the coverage of that game. Very interesting game in my end, at least to see.
Babar playing in Karachi after a while. I don't know if you're following the drama, but Salman Iqbal, the owner of ARY, has come out saying when he was asked why he traded Babar Azam, he said because we asked Babar Azam to play at number 3 and Babar Azam refused. And so we had no choice but to let him go in the draft and go to Zalmi.
I mean, we've heard this story from many people.
Wasim Akram.
Wasim Akram has said something very similar to this. So I don't think what the drama is. I just think it's very interesting that people, there's a reaction from the Babar fan base, obviously, which is just like, he left this team. You didn't kick him out. He left, blah, blah, blah. I just think it's all a moot point, bro. This was like 5 years ago. It doesn't really matter. Islamabad United let go of Babar Azam as well. Nobody goes back to Rehan ul Haq. And like, why didn't you retain this guy? Everybody has their own mindset. Everybody has their own way of conducting a team.
The question is like, why isn't Babar sacrificing himself as an opener to let guys like in Karachi was Martin Guptill and Sharjeel Khan opening? That should have been their opening combination. But because of Babar, Guptill went 1 down, Sharjeel Khan went 1 down, and even right now in Zulmi, I think the better opening combination is Saim and Haris.
Will we see the day that they play together? Will we see it?
Well, would they open together?
Yeah.
It's unlikely.
Unlikely. Sad times. We'll be back tomorrow with the coverage of tomorrow's game, which is MS versus PZ. Sorry for the the voice and the nasality. If you're in your car and my voice sounds really bad, I apologize beforehand. But on Sunday is our monthly video call with our patrons on Patreon. If you are not a Patreon yet, you can definitely sign up for that. Shout out to Taimur Rabani and AM Masood 34, who are the executive producers. If you don't know what that means, check out the tier section in our Patreon link in the description below. And you guys can come out, and we're going to actually be watching the first innings of the Islamabad United versus Karachi Kings game together with our patrons and just catching up. It's been a while. So if you guys want to be a part of that, definitely check the description below. Thank you to Sendwave. Thank you to Yashi. Thank you to our patrons. And yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow after the nail-biting MS versus PZ game.
Cheers.